Several years ago, I actually even retained AIS Media and had them revamp some of our own digital marketing because we needed to get in front of more sponsors. We needed to get in front of more drivers. And Tom's company was able to help us with that, gave us a brand new, beautiful website, and did a lot of it for us. And so I understand exactly what it is his company brings to the table for those entities. And I'd say that we had a very successful run with AIS Media, and I certainly recommend them highly. But once the economic downturn took place, companies stopped spending money, certainly unnecessarily or without justification. And what happened and what we saw was companies started saying, you know what, how are you going to show us the return on the investment that we're making? And the race teams threw their arms up and said, we have no idea. And that was a huge problem. And these companies now are coming in saying, we want you to show us what the return on investment will be. And what that's since done is made the logos on the car and on the driver suits and all those things value added. So what they're actually selling is the fan engagement. So what you're seeing is race teams in the past, they may not even had a website. Now they have these very intricate websites that have the boom cameras doing the pit stops, and the fans can actually log right onto their website and see the pit stops live. The fans want to be engaged. Mm-hmm. And the sponsors' logos are now strategically placed everywhere within that team, whether it's a dashboard logo, a logo on their driver's race suit, on their helmet, on their visor strip, on all the pit lane equipment. And you're seeing the drivers like Spencer now walking around the paddock using Periscope and Snapchat and all these other and Facebook Live and really engaging the fans, because the fans want to be immersed in whatever their favorite sport or their favorite driver is. And they want full access, and they want it live. They want it now. And it's really changed the sport. So instead of somebody like Spencer just being able to focus on going in early in the morning and focusing on what, I got to turn here, I got to turn there, I got this apex, he's got to walk in the door thinking, okay, I got to engage the fan today. I got to make sure that my sponsor's logo is in that fan's face as much as humanly possible. So now these sponsors are able to go in there and use various different metrics to gauge how much access they're getting. And it's completely changed the sport.
Well, I remember when we were down at the Rolex 24 a few years ago, one of the most exciting parts of the race that everyone really enjoyed were the dash cams, and in the early days when the camera was placed in the car and you can actually see the action from inside the car, that's what got everyone's attention. Now, Spencer can't be driving around at 200 miles an hour with a Snapchat camera.
No Facebook Live.
They discourage it.
Yeah, that's not going to work. But I think that was kind of an early sign, for the kind of engagement that fans really wanted. They wanted to be in the driver's seat. And it creates this level of authenticity and reality. Their circuits had a difficult time filling the seats because now, people have, 50, 60-inch TVs, and they've got their iPads and their smartphones, so they can, connect with the drivers that way. What were some of the biggest hurdles that, you had to overcome? Was there pushback? Where did pushback come from? Did it come from the drivers? Did it come from the teams? Did it come from the circuit? Where was the big challenge? Because every business gets pushback, right, in adopting new technologies. Where did you see it, Eric?
Really, the drivers, especially the young drivers who we specialized in working, our biggest focus for my company was the young guys that are coming up through the sport and the younger generation. We didn't have a lot of the older generation drivers. So they engaged it quite actively and aggressively and enthusiastically. The teams were probably the biggest because most of the race teams that are out there and have been out there for so long, especially the ones with a lot of history behind them, are guys that early on knew how to make race cars go fast, and that's what they did well. The business of motor racing is where they lacked. And in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, the sponsors were coming out of the woodwork and handing them ridiculous amounts of money just to go throw a logo on their car and go racing. So they didn't really have to work for it. So it was really training the race team to embrace this and actually want to give the sponsor back the value. And it's so much more than just simply a logo on a race car now. It's hospitality, it's fan engagement, it's product sampling trackside, it's all these various different tentacles that make it viable for a company like mine to go in and do that for them. But I think for us, that was kind of the area that we had to kind of reinvent ourselves after we came to AIS Media and we saw the light through Thomas's eyes, and he said, "Hey, these are some of the things that you should be doing." And we really had to take a long look at it, and we embraced it, and it changed our business focus, and we were able to then spin that back to our clients and have them embrace it. But in many cases, luckily for us, they embrace it through us.
A lot more moving parts today than there once were.